Lacrosse is known to be the fastest game on 2 feet. It mixes speed, strength, finesse and hand-eye coordination to create this physical sport. According to Inside Lacrosse, the sport has been played in England since 1892. Today, lacrosse is gaining popularity, particularly in universities where more and more people are learning to play the game. In 2010, Manchester was selected to host the FIL World Lacrosse Championships. In what was a successful event, USA came out on top with the gold medal. Manchester was also set to host the 2018 World Championships in June. With 48 countries competing, it would be the biggest World Championships ever. Unfortunately for English lacrosse, just 15 months before the games kicked off, the English Lacrosse Association decided to pull out from hosting the event. The 2018 World Championships will now be hosted in Netanya, Israel. After coming off the back of a gold medal at the 2016 European Championships in Budapest, hosting the World Games would have been an incredible experience for the returning members of Team England. It was also an excellent opportunity to raise the profile of lacrosse and potentially gain mainstream media coverage and funding to improve the state of lacrosse in England. Club lacrosse is heavily centralised around the northwest, with most teams that compete in the Northern Division being located in Greater Manchester and Cheshire. For English lacrosse to move out of the shadows of niche sports and become a popular sport throughout the country, this is something that needs to change. When the decision to withdraw from hosting the World Games was made, the English Lacrosse Association, who are the governing body behind English lacrosse, released an official statement. It read,
"It is with regret that English Lacrosse Association announce our official withdrawal from hosting the 2018 FIL Men's Lacrosse World Championships. It's been a very difficult decision for the sport to make and has been taken with the utmost consideration for the successful hosting of the event and the financial sustainability of lacrosse in England. The English Lacrosse Board, after great consideration and consultation, found that the event in the form that English lacrosse would wish to deliver placed the governing body and sport at an unacceptable financial risk. The Federation of International Lacrosse have subsequently announced that Israel has been agreed as the new host nation for the 2018 event."
I asked the ELA if they could speak to me and expand on some of the issues raised in this statement. Unfortunately, they declined. I wanted to find out how the decision to change the venue of the Lacrosse World Championships would affect teams competing in the tournament. The head coaches of both England and Spain shared their comments with me.
Tom Wenham, head coach, England men's lacrosse.
My name's Mike Bartlett, I'm the head coach of the Spain men's national team.
What was your initial reaction to the decision?
I'll be honest, my initial reaction was disappointment. I was really looking forward to a home championships. I was really looking forward to the opportunity of showcasing England lacrosse in England and how we could use that to help grow the game and to bring the game to new audiences, and it would have been really positive to see an event in Manchester and really kind of driving the sport forwards in the UK. My reaction, I guess, at the time was based on the fact that all we knew wasn't going to be in Manchester and we didn't know anything else. Once I'd heard it was going to be in Israel, I quickly changed to excitement. I think it brings some very different challenges for us, and obviously playing overseas as opposed to in front of a home crowd is a big difference, but really excited to see lacrosse growing in a new country like Israel, and a great opportunity for them to use the sport as a vehicle for kind of putting that level of competition on the map. And I know that's something that Israel haven't perhaps previously been able to do, is hold that level of world championship level competition and so on. Such a large beast now, the World Championships. It's a real challenge to stage, so it'll be great to see what they do and how they are able to make it a success.
What was your initial reaction then when you found out about the decision?
Absolute disappointment and devastation. From a personal perspective, to be able to bring my family, my friends out, to host the Spanish guys in my home city, to bring them over here and show them a bit of sort of my life and my upbringing was something I was particularly excited for and looking forward to. to have that taken away from us was devastating.
Has the decision affected your preparation for the tournament in any way?
It has, yeah, it certainly has. It's we're going on tour to Israel in April, which is a huge bonus for us. We're really excited about that and the opportunities that gives us. So obviously that's a big change. I think it probably has had a knock-on impact in terms of the finances for the players, which brings its own challenges. But then just getting our heads around the fact that we'll be competing in significant heat from what we understand. We'll be playing in front of crowds which I imagine are really gunning for Israel to be successful, and they're throwing a lot of resource at it, and quite rightly, good luck to them.
How did the decision affect your preparation for the tournament?
Probably slightly differently to the rest of sort of the English lacrosse community in particular, in that the team were very excited to come back to Manchester, and they were really looking forward to coming back to where they had the Worlds in 2010. They felt it was a place to be comfortable. The Spain guys particularly have an affinity for England itself because of its sort of rich lacrosse community and rich lacrosse tradition. So to have that taken away from them was incredibly disappointing. In terms of our preparation, it's changed the goalpost slightly in terms of how we need to prepare for the games and the environment in which we're going to play. It doesn't bother us too much from a warm weather perspective because we're kind of used to that.
Why do you personally think that the games got changed?
Finance. The understanding, the information that we've been given, and the understanding I have based on that is just risk management. It's a lot of learnings from the hosting of the World Championships and for the women, and that then led the governing body to make a decision that holding the men's would be too risky. But ultimately, I'm not a paid member of staff of the governing bodies, and I'm not involved in that world really. My focus is just making England the most successful lacrosse team that we can be, and be that in England, Israel or anywhere else, I guess ultimately makes no odds to me. There's no reason why I should be in that decision making. It's just our emphasis doesn't change. We just want to be the best we can be.
This is Hough End Playing Fields in Manchester. It was the proposed site for where a complex would have been built to host the Lacrosse World Championships, but unfortunately will no longer go ahead as planned. Instead of a state-of-the-art sports facility that was promised, this site will remain the same. With many English lacrosse clubs relying on unused cricket pitches during the winter to play on, this complex would have been welcomed with open arms and a huge benefit to the sport. The tournament will now be hosted in Netanya, with the gold medal game being played at this stunning 13,000 capacity stadium. I spoke to some of the England players to get their reaction to the decision.
Sam Russell, England captain.
Russell has been involved with Team England for 10 years now and has vast experience playing in major tournaments, including the World Games in Manchester 2010 and Denver 2014. Most recently, he led the side to a gold medal at the 2016 European Championships in Budapest. What was your initial reaction to the decision?
It was a mixed reaction. I think I had a feeling that there may be something up with the games because there was where it was supposed to be hosted and stuff. There was no sort of development going on or anything like that, and the timescales were getting tighter. So I had a feeling there might be something going on. So it kind of took the sting out of the reaction. But again, yeah, it still stung a little bit. It would have been nice to be here.
Has the decision affected your preparation in any way?
Yes and no. Obviously, the climate's very different. We're not in Manchester playing in our sunny summer for about 4 degrees. So that'll be different. There's different kind of preparation for that from a fitness standpoint and being able to play in heat. And then I guess from a mental standpoint, I have changed differently as well. Like I'm really excited about this tournament. And as I discussed before, the issues I think about hosting a tournament of this size, one thing that Israel does have is resources, and I do think that they're out to make a statement, and they are going to make this a success and put on a tournament of a second to none. Like when we were in Denver last time around in 2014, that experience was a professional setup, and I think we'll get that in Israel. You'll feel like an athlete. There'll be exposure on TV. It'll be a really, really exciting place. So from that point of view, I am excited. I was slightly sceptical whether we'd get that in England because of the size and knowing the challenges our governing body face, whether we'd be able to put it onto a level that they will put it on over there. So from that point of view, I think I'm excited, but also very disappointed that I won't get to, this is my first World Championship, I get to play with my brother. My youngest brother's just made the team, Alex. And to be able to do that in Manchester in front of our family would have been a very, 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 very special thing.
Sam Patterson, another English lacrosse veteran, also shared his thoughts with me.
Initial reaction to the decision to change the venue of the World Games?
Immensely disappointed, can't lie. I think we're all excited to play in the home games. You only have to look at the women's side just gone to see how beneficial it is to play in the home games. They played extremely well and won a bronze medal. I'm quite fortunate, and along with Sam Russell and Nick Watson and Andrew Baxter, we've all played in the home games before, so we know the benefits that it can bring you. Playing in front of 2,000, 3,000 of your home fans, it can really give you that edge in some of those key battles. Immensely disappointed. Confused with the decision, if we're being completely honest.
Sam went on to tell me how disappointing missing out on hosting the championships is, and how beneficial it could have been for the game.
Being involved with 2010 and walking around the festival and seeing all the youth players, seeing all the schools involved at a young age coming down and playing pot lacrosse on the actual World Championship field. From a development point of view, I think that's a huge it's an opportunity missed, unfortunately, but nothing can be done really about that. So from my point of view, I was looking at it for more from a development point of view, in terms of growing the game and in terms of expanding the game, not just in Manchester but nationally as well, and raising the profile of the sport. Again, the women's were broadcast on BBC online, and that gave them some big exposure to a new audience. I think from a monetary point of view, we had some good sponsors on board in 2010 that really helped alleviate. Obviously, we're an amateur side, we fund ourselves. In 2010 we had some big sponsors on board, some local sponsors that helped to sort of alleviate that cost and make it more affordable for us as sort of amateur players that are all working 9-to-5 jobs to support ourselves, our families, and then also playing for our nation as well. Our men's game traditionally has been sort of mainly a Manchester-centric, London-centric sport, and I think to be able to, we're in Nottingham now, and university games help with the growth of the sport and the exposure of the sport. But I think having potentially some sort of media exposure and being a key event in sort of the international sort of schedule here in the UK, in terms of events that we're hosting in England this year, it would have been, I think, a huge opportunity to further raise the profile of the men's game. I know the women's game obviously got some massive exposure and on the BBC and various other media outlets, but I think it would have been nice to also get some exposure for our game and help grow it.
While speaking to people involved with English men's lacrosse, there was one key underlying issue with the game: funding. There wasn't enough funding to host the World Championships, there isn't enough funding to have good pitches or sports complexes for club teams to play on, and international players are expected to cough up large sums of money to represent their country. For the sport to gain popularity in England, it needs heroes. Real English lacrosse players that juniors coming through the ranks can look up to and admire. Hosting the World Games would have given England men's lacrosse a platform to become these heroes, as they face the world's biggest names in lacrosse in their own backyard. With the Women's World Cup being shown on BBC Online, it shows that media coverage for lacrosse in England is possible. But without a home games, this mainstream coverage will not be possible, and English men's lacrosse will have missed an opportunity to be able to reach a nationwide audience and grow the game.
The impact that it will have is enormous. It's a new generation of players that won't have the opportunity to see, the highlights of real showcase lacrosse. We're talking about the professionals, the Canadians, the Iroquois, the Americans, coming over into our home city would have been such a spike for participation, for interest, for raising the profile of lacrosse in the country, which is desperately needed in the times we're in now. And I just worry that in the future, will that ever come back to us? Will we ever have that opportunity again? Is that something that we have now kind of burnt our bridges with? And that's a huge disappointment.